stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Alderman Strelchak.
Here.
Alderman Bushy.
Here.
Alderman Meyer.
Here.
Alderman Worth.
Here.
Alderman Garrow.
Here.
Alderman Brian Schneider.
Here.
Alderman Kathleen Schneider. Here. Alderman Nervin.
Here.
Mayor Avendroth.
Here. We have a quorum, and the first item is personal appearances and public comment. Any citizen wishing to address the council on any matter that is not on our agenda tonight may do so at this time. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council? Seeing none, we'll move on to public officials' reports. The mayor has a proclamation tonight recognizing the Homestead High School robotics team, and I will read this to you. Whereas Homestead High School's varsity robotics team, known as number 8680, Kraken Pinion, designs, builds, programs, and operates robots that compete against each other to achieve specified tasks. And whereas the team has won 3 consecutive regional matches, including the Alliance Captain at the Valders High School Regional, the MSOE Regional, Thumb Bump, and the Western Indiana Regional. And whereas the team won their 4th title as Alliance Captain in February 2018 at the Wisconsin State Competition to qualify for the North Super Regionals, and whereas the North Super Regionals included the 72 best teams from 11 surrounding states, and Kraken Pinion was on the winning alliance, advancing to the World Championships. And whereas the robotics team competed in the 2017-2018 season of First Tech Challenge, along with 6,013 teams competing from all over the world. And whereas the World Championships, Homestead High School's varsity robotics team placed 6th in the world. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the city of Mequon takes pride in number 8680 Kraken Pinion's exceptional accomplishments and congratulates the team for ranking among the top robotics teams in the world. In witness whereof I have set my hand and seal this 9th day of October 2018. How about a round of hand? You guys want to stand up?
Go Highlanders!
I'm in charge.
I don't know if I want to ask what's a Kraken Pinion, but
We're going to get to the picture.
It's a great really big guy in the back of the thing there.
Might have gotten 6th in the competition, but I got
oh,
the
it's
best
Kraken.
name.
I didn't even know.
Dude, I want a jacket.
And then it was like Kraken, like cracking without a G, you know.
Rack and pinion steering. That's a play on rack and pinion.
Yeah, okay.
How do you get a hoodie?
Kraken's a very good dark rum.
No, it's two I wanted to do. We hadn't been done. How about you?
Good nice thing.
Really
Thank you with all
cool.
of us.
That's really cool art.
My old neighbor.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Mr. City Administrator?
One house over.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just a couple of quick updates this evening as members of the robotics team file out of the council chambers. Just a reminder, we have a meeting of the Appropriations Committee scheduled for next Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. That is where the Common Council will serve as the Appropriations Committee and consider the draft budget that staff has proposed for fiscal year 2019, which begins on January 1st of 2019. Obviously, that's a public meeting, and any and all residents and other interested parties are invited to attend. Secondly, we've got an appliance and events recycling collection event scheduled coming up on Saturday, October 20th. This will be taking place at the Public Works facility at 10800 North Industrial Drive, just south of Mequon Road. We have a flyer on the city's website which lists all of the various appliances and electronics and lawn equipment that is eligible for recycling. I think back in the late spring, early summer, we had about 450 cars show up to our earlier event. So we're looking for another big turnout coming up on Saturday, October 20th. The collection event will take place between 9 a.m. and noon. No pre-registration is necessary. Come one, come all. And lastly, it's October, so trick-or-treat time is also around the corner. This year, trick-or-treat hours are officially scheduled between 4 and 7 p.m. on Sunday, October 28th. Granted, there are many homeowners associations and subdivisions within Mequon that may have their own separate trick-or-treat hours, which may land on the 31st of October, and residents are encouraged to check with their homeowners associations if they have other hours. But citywide, officially, trick-or-treat will be on Sunday, October 28th, again, between 4 and 7 p.m.
Thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda. It's quite a big consent agenda, so bear with me. It includes the Common Council minutes of September, Architectural Review Board minutes of August, Board of Police and Fire Commission minutes of June, July, and August. They had a lot of meetings. Economic Development Board meeting minutes of August, Festivals Committee minutes of August, Finance Personnel Committee minutes of August, Joint Mequon, Thiensville Bike and Pedestrian Way Commission minutes of August, Park and Open Space Board minutes of June, July, and August, Public Welfare Committee minutes of August, Public Works Committee minutes of June and August, Sewer Utility District Commission minutes of June, and some resolutions. Resolution 3560, authorizing final plat approval for a 6-lot single-family subdivision located at 2100 Ranch Road. This was recommended by the Planning Commission in September. Resolution 3561, authorizing final plat approval for a 17-lot single-family subdivision for the third and final phase of the enclave at Mequon Preserve, the neighborhood located at 10729 to 10839 North Wauwatosa Road, recommended by the Planning Commission in September. Resolution 3562, a resolution canceling the special assessment against benefited property at the enclave of Mequon Preserve in connection with completion of the Wauwatosa Road Sanitary Sewer Expansion Project. Recommendation forthcoming from Public Works.
Pass 3-0.
They recommended approval. Recommended by Public Works Committee this evening. And Resolution 3563, a companion resolution levying reallocated special assessments against benefited property, the enclave at Mequon Preserve, in connection with completion of the Wauwatosa Road Sanitary Sewer Expansion Project, also recommended by Public Works Committee this evening. We also have first readings of ordinances. These ordinances will not be acted upon this evening. Ordinance 1528, amending Chapter 14 in business regarding gun range premise licensing. This was recommended by the Finance Personnel Committee this evening. This is a first reading.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and take it up now.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion to suspend the rules. Call the roll.
Alderman Bushy?
Aye.
Alderman Meyer?
Aye.
Alderman Wirt?
Aye.
Alderman Garrow?
Aye.
Alderman Brian Schneider?
Aye.
Alderman Kathleen Schneider? Aye. Alderman Nervin?
Aye.
Alderman Strelchak?
Aye.
Rules are suspended. You have a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve ordinance 1529.
8.
Any
Oh, no,
discussion?
fine. It's 8. 28, 1528. At least it says on my agenda.
Oh, sorry, 1528. You are correct. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So ordinance 1528 has now been adopted. Ordinance 1529, an ordinance amending Chapter 58 of the zoning code to rezone the 20-acre property located at 14097, 14155, 14137, and 14207 North Birchwood Drive from R1 Rural Residential and C2 General Conservancy and PUD Planned Unit Development to R1 and C2. They're taking away the PUD on that property. And that was recommended by the Planning Commission exactly 1 year ago, October 9th of 2017.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and take that up now also, please.
Second.
Motion and second to suspend the rules. Call the roll.
Can I, point of order, does that require a public hearing? Yes. I mean, I'm all in favor of it, but don't we need a public hearing to pass that? Yes.
And we don't have one.
Oh, there's a,
It's a year old.
I mean, I don't think we can suspend the rules.
All right, you have to, by statute, you have to have a public hearing, so it's not eligible unless we would have had to have the public hearing scheduled for this evening in order to act on it.
Rezoning.
Nice try, but I guess it doesn't fly. Okay. Don't call the roll. We will move on. Ordinance 1530, amending Chapter 58 zoning code to rezone the 68-acre property located at the northeast corner of Bonnewell and Riverland Roads from R1 rural residential 5-acre to R1 with a PUD, Planned Unit Development Overlay, recommended by the Planning Commission last evening. This is a first reading. So I need a motion to adopt the consent agenda minus ordinance 1528.
So moved.
second.
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Alderman Worth.
I would need to have a resolution 3560 removed and voted on separately because I'm going to need to recuse myself from it.
Okay, take 3560 out. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 3560, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That resolution is adopted. The consent agenda is complete. Moving on to ordinances, we don't have any. Resolutions, Resolution 3564, a resolution approving an agreement with the Strategic Research Institute of St. Norbert College, De Pere, Wisconsin, to conduct a 2019 community-wide survey in the amount of $37,500. Recommendation forthcoming from Public Welfare.
Public Welfare recommended approval with one slight caveat to it. The original was 36.5, it was increased to 37.5. We approved the 37.5 on the contract, sending city staff back to negotiate on to see if they could drop that $1,000 on it. Being because of the fact that they said that the time frame that we were giving them was they would have to use more resources to get to that time frame. We actually, maybe we'll hit that time frame, but we're actually extended it longer for the survey to be completed. And I move approval.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve. Is there any further discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Worth.
Aye.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
Alderman Brian Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Kathleen Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Nervin.
Aye.
Alderman Stralchak.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
8-0, and that is adopted. Resolution 3556, authorizing the purchase of a 1-ton replacement truck from Five Corners Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep of Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and other associated components for a total not to exceed cost of $47,500. Recommendation forthcoming from Public Works.
It was recommended 3-0.
Recommended by Public Works.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Somebody ran into this truck and destroyed it. Call the roll.
Alderman Worth.
Aye.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
Alderman Brian Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Kathleen Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Nervin.
Aye.
Alderman Stralchak.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
8-0, and that resolution is adopted. Resolution 3565, awarding the contract for mechanical system work, HVAC, at City Hall to J&H Heating Incorporated of Port Washington, Wisconsin, in the amount of $33,630. Recommendation from Public Works,
Again, passed 3-0.
recommended by Public Works.
Move to approve.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Alderman Brian Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Kathleen Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Nervin.
Aye.
Alderman Stralchek.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Worth.
Aye.
8-0, and that resolution is adopted. Resolution 3566, approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of Mequon and the Mequon Fire and EMS Association, allowing for a temporary increase in compensation for fire inspection duties through March 31st, 2019. This is recommended by Finance Personnel Committee this evening. There were two minor language changes. Paragraph A would read, "The City of Mequon is required to provide fire inspection services to every commercial building in the city twice a year." The word "commercial" was added. And in paragraph B, the Mequon Fire Department is currently experiencing difficulty in meeting this requirement. The sentence was changed to reflect what's actually happening.
It was
Move
recommended
approval.
with that?
Pardon?
It was recommended
It was
unanimously?
recommended in that
Move
regard.
approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Is there any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman Brian Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Kathleen Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Nervin.
Aye.
Alderman Stralchek.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Worth.
Aye.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
8-0, and that resolution is adopted. We have no specified unfinished business. We have no petitions, memorials, remonstrances, or communications. For specified miscellaneous new business, we have one mayoral appointment to the tree board.
Move approval?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved. And we have three potential closed sessions. Number one, negotiations concerning the Mequon Police Association for the contract period beginning January 1st, 2019. The Common Council may convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85, paren 1, paren E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and then may reconvene into open session to take such action as deemed appropriate.
I would move to remain in open session for a staff update, and then if there's some potential negotiation that we may need to discuss, to go into closed session.
I don't think you need to move that. You
Well,
can make that suggestion.
I was reading your memo, or the staff's memo, but yes, that's my suggestion, that would, at least, if there is a tentative agreement that is not necessarily necessary for a closed session. If
Okay.
we have concerns, then maybe we move into closed session.
Okay. We'll take up that item.
Yeah, I'm happy to provide an update on the session if that's the council's wish. I have a handout, I was going to be on screen.
It's okay, I hate PowerPoints.
I don't get to keep the whole stack?
Alrighty, so in September, the city held negotiations with the Mequon Police Association to establish a successor agreement to the current contract that ends the end of this calendar year. And the document I handed out to you lists where the association started in negotiations, where the city started negotiations, and where we ultimately ended. The association had originally requested a 2-year contract, and that's something we are agreeable with as well. And they had requested a 3.25 cost living adjustment each year. And on top of that, there's some other proposals which included increasing a lump sum that's paid to all union members each year for years of service after 2 years are completed. So currently we pay each union member $30 in the end of the year for each year of service completed after 2 years. up to 30 years. They wanted that to go up to 50. Their third item was they wanted to adjust how we compensate employees for unused sick days over their accrued bank maximum. So currently they can have up to 180 days in their sick leave bank, and anything outside of that, they get $20 per day. So it's an incentive for them. If they're not going to use sick time, they still can get some monetary reward for it. And they wanted that from $20 per day to straight time pay for a full day's work that wasn't used. And their last request was to allow retirees who have accumulated sick leave to choose how they divvy up that sick time benefit to retirement benefit. So currently, if you retire with time in your sick bank, you can have that translate into additional health insurance coverage for X amount of months, up to 18 months, or you can have a cash payment in lieu of the benefit. And they wanted to allow a retiree to say, oh, I want some here and some there, so a little bit of both options. And they also wanted to increase how much we paid out to them. So that's where they started. That proposal was much higher than economically feasible. And we countered with our proposal, which was a 2-year contract up to 3 years, and going to give them an increase anywhere from 2 to 2.5%. And then we had some other points we tried to also address through negotiations, which included some compliance with recent Supreme Court rulings for union dues deductions, for instance, and then also retirement benefit and how the cash in lieu payment is made. There's IRS regulations changes we just needed to comply with. Same monetary result, no economic impact, just doing it in a new way. And then we also tried to instill a physical fitness program with the association as well as part of our proposal, and also incorporate additional steps into the salary range and incorporate language allowed probation employees to use city vehicles for training, which is what we do with regular employees. After 2 days of negotiations, we settled on a contract, the 2-year contract, a 2.5% increase, which aligns with our range that we had wanted. And we got agreements on the legal language changes we needed for the union due deductions and the retirement benefit payout. And they agreed to incorporating the probationary employee use of city vehicles for training. So that's generally where we came to. Looking externally, there are comparables who achieved 2.5%, so we're not in the far extreme high end, nor on the very low end. There are some people who achieved 2% adjustments for wages. So we're roughly within the range for both years. So that was probably a lot. Any questions?
Alderman Worth? Can you give us an idea of why they would be opposed to a voluntary fitness program that gave them a bonus if they achieved it?
Sure. So this was an interesting conversation. We actually tried to get the same program instilled in the current contract, and previously they told us that they were afraid that at some point we would remove the voluntary language and make it mandatory. And that's why they didn't want it in their current contract. This time around, they were more of the mind that it wasn't appropriate to be in there, and they would be in agreement if we rolled this out to all city staff instead of just them. They weren't opposed but didn't want it in their contract.
Would we have to have it in the contract to
No.
have such a program?
I haven't, I guess, had that conversation with others within the city to see if we could still roll out the program. It could be an option.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
So, following Assistant Administrator Shinneman's very thorough explanation of the proposed terms for the contract, the plan is to bring the collective bargaining agreement to the council at their November meeting, following the union's ratification of the tentative agreement later this month. So If there are no further questions, you'll see this on your agenda in 5 weeks.
Okay. The second item for potential closed session, Police Department staffing. The Common Council may enter closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85(1)(c) for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and/or Wisconsin statute 19.85(1)(f) for the purpose of considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories of disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations, and may then reconvene into open session to take such action as deemed appropriate.
I'd move to go into closed session on that item.
Motion and second to go into closed session. Call the roll.
Alderman Kathleen Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Nerben.
Aye.
Alderman Strolchek.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Worth.
Aye.
Alderman Garrell.
Aye.
Alderman Brian Schneider.
Aye.
It's 8-0. And then the third item for consideration of closed session is quarterly personnel evaluation of the city administrator. The Common Council may convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85(1)(c), considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and then may reconvene into open session to take such action as deemed appropriate.
Move to go into closed session.
Motion and second to go into closed session. Call the roll.
Alderman Nerben.
Aye.
Alderman Strolchek.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Worth.
Aye.
Alderman Garrell.
Aye.
Alderman Brian Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Kathleen Schneider.
Aye.
8-0, and council will now go into closed session.